It's 7:02 in the morning. Your alarm hasn't even gone off yet. You reach for your phone the way you do every day, half awake, and you open your banking app out of pure habit. And then you stop, because the number on the screen is too long to fit on one line. The app has to wrap it onto a second row. You count the digits twice. $100 billion sitting in your account, real, legal, and yours. Here's what we're holding true for the next few minutes. The money is real. Nobody is coming to take it back. The rest of the world keeps spinning exactly as it does today. Everything that happens next follows real economics, real law, and the very real way human beings behave. No magic, and within the first hour, this money is going to quietly take something away from you. You will not guess what it is. We'll get there, because this is not a story about buying a car. It is not a story about buying a house. It is not a story about buying an island. This is a story about a number so large that it stops behaving like money at all. Stay with me, because the first surprise lands fast. You cannot actually spend this. Try the math. If you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you more than 270 years to reach the bottom. You will run out of years long before you run out of money. And it gets stranger. Park it in safe, ordinary places earning around 4%, and it generates roughly $11 million a day while you sleep. You could never spend the interest, let alone the money underneath it. Here's what most people miss. That mountain of cash can't simply sit in one account. In the United States, a bank deposit is only insured up to $250,000. So $100 billion can't safely rest in any single place. It has to be split across hundreds of institutions, government bonds, and assets. Overnight, you stop being a person who spends money. You become a system that manages it, and every time you try to move a meaningful piece of it, you trip a wire. Any large transfer gets flagged and reviewed. Every serious purchase comes with a paper trail and a polite request to explain where the money came from. The freedom you pictured, walking in and buying anything you want, quietly turns into a full-time job of approvals, advisors, and forms. If you're enjoying this thought experiment, a quick subscribe helps more than you'd think. Now let's follow the chain further out, because this is where it gets genuinely strange. The money changes the people around you before it changes anything else. Psychologists actually have a name for what happens next. They call it sudden wealth syndrome, the anxiety, the isolation, and the strange loss of direction that hits people who become rich overnight. And we have watched it play out for real. In 2002, a man named Jack Whitaker won $315 million in the Powerball lottery. Within a few short years, the money was gone, tangled in one lawsuit after another, and his life was unrecognizable. He later said he wished he had torn the ticket up. And he is not alone. Study after study finds that a large share of big lottery winners are right back where they started within a few years. The problem was never the size of the prize. The problem is that people are simply not built to absorb a shock that big, and here's the part almost nobody predicts. With $100 billion, you can no longer be just a private individual. You become an institution whether you want to or not. You need a team to manage the money, a team to look after your safety, and a team to manage the teams. Your name shows up on lists. Your front door becomes a logistics problem. The quiet, ordinary freedom of being nobody in particular, walking into a shop and being just another customer, is suddenly gone. And it does not come back, and every conversation you have now carries a second meaning. When someone smiles at you, a small question appears in the back of your mind that you can never fully switch off, which brings us right back to the thing the money took from you in that very first hour. It took your anonymity. And with it, something deeper. The simple ability to trust why someone is in the room with you. Think about it. Before that morning when a friend called, you knew they called for you. When someone laughed at your joke, you knew it was the joke. After that morning, you can never be completely sure again. Every kindness now carries a possible second motive. Not because people are bad, but because that much money bends the space around it, the way a heavy object bends everything nearby. You will spend the rest of your life quietly wondering about the one thing you used to take for granted without a single thought, and that points to something true for every one of us, with or without the billions. Underneath all of it, a person needs to be seen for who they actually are. To be wanted for themselves. That is the one thing this enormous number cannot buy you. In fact, it is the first thing it prices out of reach, and there's one more layer further out still. A number this size doesn't just change your life. It changes the world the moment it touches it. $100 billion is larger than the entire yearly output of most countries on Earth. So the moment you try to buy a lot of anything, land, a company, a town's worth of houses, your own demand pushes the price up to meet you. The market feels you coming. You end up paying more simply because you are the one buying. The very size that was supposed to make everything easy is the thing that quietly makes everything cost more. And yet, for all that reach, all that gravity, it still runs into a wall it cannot move. Hold that thought because it's the heart of all of this. So here's where the simulation leaves us, with 3 things worth holding on to. First, $100 billion is not spending money. It is an institution you are now responsible for running every single day for the rest of your life. Second, the shock of sudden wealth doesn't reveal how strong your world is. It reveals how delicately it was balanced all along. Your friendships, your sense of safety, your trust, resting on quieter foundations than money. And third, the one you don't see coming. The thing you assumed all that money would buy you first, your freedom, is the very first thing it quietly takes away. So let me ask you this. If you woke up tomorrow and that number was real, what is the very first thing you would do? Be honest in the comments. Your answer might say more about you than the money ever could, because in the end, the richest discovery isn't what $100 billion can buy. It's the short list of things it can't.